So I'm gonna quickly go over the changes they made to self-cursing with Tempchains. Yes, it still works. So the changes they made previously, if you didn't know, you needed 45% curse effect and the Solstice Vigil, which made your headhunter buffs and well, all your buffs for that matter last 4 times as long. Now the change they made is first of all, Solstice went from lowering your buffs by 33% to 20%, and they made it so Tempchains, they gave it 50% less effective cursing as players, which, I mean, TLDR, pretty much now what you need is a Solstice and 175% curse effect. So, first of all, I'm gonna go over my setup and how I did this, and then I'll show you some more alternatives. So, what I got is, so I got a large cluster here with 2 mediums. So the only ones you can roll curse effect on are the medium clusters, so pretty much going for those. And the stats you want on them is like I got here, 25% increased effect and Dark Discourse, because Dark Discourse is the only notable with 10% curse, and then the 25% effect makes all the small nodes 6% instead of 5. So, and with these two rolls, it's pretty much the most you can get out of any medium cluster in any variation, which this cluster gives me 34% curse effect. So I got one here, I got another here with the same stuff, Dark Discourse, and then I got another whole cluster here with again the same one here, 34, and then since I didn't need 6 more points to reach my cap, I got one with 4, and I got a second notable, which you can see it's also 5%, but for me the 5 and 5% was enough, so I was like, may as well get a notable, which also gives me 20% damage. So these are like the curse pack I got here, and then on my gear, I mean, you still want to use a Solstice, because if you don't use Solstice, you need 225% curse effect, which, you know, you're pretty much gonna spend your whole 3. I mean, I don't know, you'd have to pad to here or something, because there's impossible to get that unless, you know, Glorious Vanity, but I'll get to that later. And then you still get 11% from the gem, from 23% quality. I mean, 22% quality works as well, but you know, it's pretty cheap, so you may as well get it. And then of course the helmet enchant gives you another 30%. If you open your character sheet, pressing C, go to MISC, you can see curse effect 137. Now, mind you, this doesn't count your helmet enchant and your gem, because you see, if I take this off, and I mean, you can take that off as well. So 137 plus 11 is 148, plus my helmet enchant is 178. So I'm 3% even over the curse cap currently. So now for the changes you can make, because I mean, mine, I think for my needs is optimized, well, not fully, and I'll tell you why. Because like I said, I have 3% too much, so what can I do is I could make this also a 6 pointer, and then I can get all 4 of these. Instead of rolling the 25% effect of curses, I could roll another notable like I did here with the 5%, and then I mean, I'll spend 2 extra points, but I'll still be capped, because now I'm getting, from these clusters, I'm getting 34%, but if I only had 5% on each node, I would still get 30%, and then if I do 30, 30, 30, 30, that's 120, 150, and then the helmet, this is 156, and then with the gem is 167. So if you want to spend 2 extra points, you don't need the percent effect roll. You could just use 2 notables like I did here, but then with add 6 passive skills. Another thing to note is, like you see this jewel here, I got a 35% increased effect, which is the main reason you want to buy ID4 jewels in these, but turns out that 35% and 25% both get rounded down to 6% effect a node. So the only reason an ID4 jewel is for the 4th roll you get, which, as you can see, these jewels don't even have a 4th roll, but like this one, because the 4th rolls are pretty much just gonna be resistances or like strength, which, I mean, the stat requirements are also good, since you're gonna probably need some stats, but I don't think it's worth, you know, paying an extra exalt or 2 for the base, since it doesn't really affect the curse effect, which is the most important thing. Now, there's also the unique jewel, voices, which, I mean, a lot of people are using, but I don't think it's worth it for self-cursing, since so for this whole cluster, right, with these 3, 7 here, 6, 6, so I'm spending 22 points. But I'm also getting 3 notables, you know, 2 jewel sockets, and then even small nodes like a bit of damage, right? Now, if you were to use a voices in this spot, right? Now, mind you, this gives me 68% curse effect currently. Now, if you were to use a voices, it would be, instead of 22 points, it will be 27 points, and that's assuming you have a 3-point voices, which is currently 50x. So, you know, if you only have 10x, that's gonna be 29 points, and if you have 2x, that's gonna be 31 points. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give you another 34% curse effect right here. But you're gonna lose 3 notables and these 2 nodes, right? And you're spending like, I mean, 10 points extra at the maximum end, right? And the issue with that is, even if you have 3 here, with all 6% nodes, you're only gonna reach 158% curse effect. So even with that, you still won't be capped, and you're giving up 3 notables, and you're spending 10 extra points, which instead, that's why I opted to just go for another whole cluster, which is granted it's again a lot of points, but for the point differences is gonna be, because mind you, with the voices you're spending 10 extra points and you still won't be curse capped. Here you are curse capped, which is the most important thing, because I mean you could play with like less curse, that like you could get as close as to 175 as possible, but for me, because I was doing Legion farming, I could definitely notice like having less buffs. Like I think first I played at 130% and I was running around with around 35 to 40 buffs, when you know, when I'm 175 I'm running around with like 65 to 70 buffs, so it's almost double of that. So it does make a difference. And then here you get another 3 notables, you know, another little bit of damage. And I mean you are spending obviously a few extra points, but the extra points, it's almost like it's just the notables alone. So I think it's definitely worth it. And then I mean obviously you have more customization. And to be fair, especially if you're playing a ranger, like there is not that much you're actually giving up. I mean obviously I'm giving up a lot of life, which, you know, I mean I could route this through here, get some more life. You know, I could do this through here, get some more life. And then could probably drop something to get this life, but like life for me isn't an issue. I pretty much just have phase acro, I have Val Grace, I have dodge here. So as long as I can just kill the first few packs pretty fast to get Val Grace up, then I'll be fine. So the other options you can do, because like I said, you can experiment yourself with these, like, you know, you can do the maths and see what fits best in your needs. The other option though for curse is a glorious vanity, which I'll spend some regrets to show you. Well, how do you even remove these jewels is probably the first question. I should probably take this out. There we go. Yes. Yeah, so what Glorious Vanity does is, first of all, you don't care about the name, so it's Xibiaka here. I know Dorianis are the expensive ones, but you don't care about the name because you don't care about the big nodes. But I'll show you, like, so as a ranger, again, I'm talking about like a ranger mainly in this video. Um, the main places you can use a Glorious Vanity is here, here, and here, unless you're really doing something with your skill tree where you go here, which, you know, isn't that far off. But here is probably my worst spot to use it, since first of all you can't use phase acro, so you'd have to drop these. Also it changes this node, which, I mean, I don't have it, but what I could do is like pat through here and then refund these points, because this is a lot of damage. Now granted I don't have it, but then it also changes these nodes, right? You still have the notable, but I mean, are you really gonna pick 4 nodes to get just this, assuming these are all bad? So, and even these get changed, like the crit chance, which isn't that big a deal, but I mean, yeah. But like here, for example, right, you can see the main ones you want is Ancient Hex, 14% curse effect, and you also can get small nodes. Let me see if this one rolled any. Okay, so like this one isn't that bad. Like for example, look, So you can get small nodes with 5% curse effect. I think the small nodes go from 3 to 5, and ancient hex can roll from 10 to 15, I think. So, you know, if you get like this one, I actually rolled quite a lot of curse effect. I mean, probably isn't worth the points. So you can get 5 here, and 3 points for 13. And I mean, this one you already have for inspired learning, so you can get ones that really push your curse effect really, really high. So you can like try and get a good glorious vanity, but I wouldn't use it here. I would use it here. Like, I'm gonna refund this as well to see. But that would probably be like, if you really want to save points, like glorious vanity is probably the way to go. Because I mean, obviously the cluster jewels, they give a lot of curse effect, but it's pretty set in stone how many points you're gonna spend. So again, this, I mean, this also removes point blank, which isn't a big issue because you can technically just get a quiver with point blank if you really wanted. And I mean, point blank only helps on bosses, and by the time you get to the boss, you have like a billion headhunter buff. So again, it rolled 4% here, but why I like this location better is, I mean, obviously if you're using eye shot, you're probably taking these nodes, but you're giving up way less stuff here, especially for me. Like, I have nothing here other than a point blank than if I were to put it here. And then if you don't want to use both these locations, you can route through here and pick this jewel node, and then it'll change some stuff. I'm pretty sure this reaches here as well though, but again, this is not that big of a node, so it's not that big a deal. So that's what you could do. I mean, those are my recommendations. And oh yeah, I'll quickly go over if you play other Ascendancies. I think if you patch through this jewel, I really liked putting a Glorious Vanity here, since usually you're only using all of this section just to route through. So if you put it here, you're giving up almost nothing, and you can get some, like, you have a lot of nodes nearby that can give curse effect, especially the rooting nodes. Like if you get 5% on the small ones already, and then you get like a 15% on a 3-pointer, it's pretty good. Again, if you're playing some build that gets Whisper of Doom, I mean, you get 10% here, I think. Yeah, so you get 10%. If you go here, you can get 5 and 5, so another 10%. And then here, I mean, if your build goes to get Sign Life, you may as well grab this, because for other builds you're gonna use that as your Amulet Anoint, but if you patch through Sign Life, you may as well grab this, get 20%, and then you can anoint Taxmaster for 5%. So that's another option. And then, as far as I know, the only Ascendancy that does give curse effect is Occultist, which I think in total gives 20% at most. So, you know, you need 175 with Solstice. I mean, Solstice is pretty much non-negotiable, like you can't remove it. Like, it's gonna need 50% more curse effect, which is a lot. So the other stuff, I mean, you can play around with, you know, do the maths, try get 175 or as close to 175 as possible, and you'll be fine. Now, saying all that, I might have waited too long making this video, since some of you might have heard about the herald stacking build, which, you know, you get like a bunch of increased aura effect, all like with the new cluster jewels. You can get like, I think it's 300% curse aura effect, which somehow, what I found out like 2 or 3 days ago, is that the Shaper's Presence of Solstice also counts as an aura. So that benefits from all that increased aura effect, which there isn't even a need to self-curse anymore. Like, I haven't tested yet how long your buffs last with all that aura effect, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like close to, if not the same, as self-cursing. So that's gonna be my next build. I just wanted to finish 100 with the self-curse build, so now that I've done that, I'm gonna do that. And yeah, but I mean, assuming that build gets nerfed, even if it doesn't, like, self-cursing still works, so we just play that. If it gets nerfed, we just revert back to this, so it's fine.